Roman Catholics in the West,
still delusional.
they held it on.
And then we'll play some CS after.
I think what the Catholics did brilliantly is I think that they adapted the religion in a brilliant way. And because of that, it might not be as authentic, but it might be more palatable for mass consumptions. I'm gonna ask, like religious dates and shit. I don't know enough to say, but there's like the biggest difference in religious dates.
That is true. Like Vatican II diluted a lot of like Catholic teaching. There was like, it had to be in Latin. Like the priest would be facing the altar, and then all of a siden the priest like turned around. It became in English. A lot of things got like diluted. So even like diehard Catholics are probably more orthodox than like than people would think.
I think in the Christian I mean, I'm obviously busting balls to rile at Mark and Catholics, but just because I learned one new thing and I like to act like I know shit.
Just with another finger gun.
Okay,
that won't work.
But like for example, I think in the Christian Orthodox Church, only bishops need to be celibate. I think everybody else can have like a wife, even if you're like part of the church.
That's a good rule. Y'all should adopt that one.
Well, I think they could. I think you guys flipped that somewhat recently.
What?
The fact that the priests need to be celibate. That wasn't always the case.
Maybe. I don't know exactly when that got changed.
I think that was changed later on. Now it is, but I think like that wasn't from the beginning.
But what the Pope says is essentially law for Catholics, right?
For Catholics.
Now that Francis is like kind of pro-gay, are y'all pro-gay?
Yeah, whatever.
Now it depends.
Right? That flipped.
The Pope has to speak ex cathedra. That's like church teaching. So he has to speak like basically with all confirmation of the bishops for it to be church doctrine. And that's only happened like 4 times in the past like 150 years.
It's like getting a bill to pass unanimously.
Yeah, basically. Whereas like the priest could just be saying wild shit. Or the Pope, like there's been popes that like people said that like were women. There's been popes that like had wives and concubines and shit. So like there's been popes that have done crazy stuff, but like the Pope will basically lead the church, but it has to be with all the bishops approved.
Especially back in the day, being the Pope was a political figure. You were like the head of like the Vatican states. Like, so you were also like an army general.
Yeah, the Swiss Guard on your side. You had
like they was fucking people up and shit.
Yeah.
And it was like political moves too. Like I think have you guys heard of the Medici family?
Yeah.
I've heard of
You've heard about there was like a prominent family in Florence during the Renaissance. Yeah, they were like big money.
They ran all the art, right?
Rockefellers and bankers
Shit,
too.
you can just
But they commissioned all that beautiful art and everything that you see. And but they got some Medicis as popes. Like that was like full infiltration of a dynastic family.
Catholics were the first Jews, bro. That's what it is. People are like, oh, Jews run the world. It's like, no. Catholics were the first ones that were secretly running everything behind the scenes.
So that's the other thing that's kind of fire. It's like, we don't give Catholics enough credit for that.
We need that, bro.
We don't give them enough credit for that.
Jews bit the whole flow.
They do. Catholics ran shit. Like,
secretly, behind the scenes.
So did they figure out?
So what happened? Y'all fell off?
We fell off. Bro.
Damn.
Got bodied.
God damn.
Did they fall off, or was it like? So I'm looking at this shit like.
Wait, takes?
I guess there's still empires, and the British have an empire, but it was more colonial in the empire. It's like, hey, we're just gonna go over there and I guess take your shit. I don't know exactly how empires were in the Ottoman age or the Roman age. In my understanding, it was, yo, you're part of us, and we're gonna run shit over here too, and we're gonna have our people over here as well. I don't know exactly. Whereas. I wonder if the Catholic Church and other churches did like have like a religious empire and a religious colonization, right? Where it's like, we don't need to go there and run shit and figure out your laws and everything. We'll be your God, and you'll do everything that we say because we're God. And your king will need to fuck with us, because if he don't fuck with us, then we'll turn his people against. Like, there was an easier way to rule the world.
Yeah, you need theocracies before the internet.
You need
break
that down.
Because you need some type of like overarching omniscient power to keep people in check.
And it used to be the monarchies.
Yeah, but even the monarchies, a lot of them were ran religiously, right? Like they would be
because they realized that they would
work
together.